years.
And just looking, Greg, you talk about the human tragedy. The most recent posts on Diogo's Instagram were of his wedding day, and just 5 days ago, posting about that wedding moment with the caption, "Yes to forever," pictured alongside his wife and also their 3 young children. At 28, he was already a family man.
Yeah, and that family, of course, is very much part of a club like this. They would have made their home, of course, in this part of the world while he was following his career with Liverpool. That family, as we see from that statement from Liverpool, very much in their minds as well. It's not just about a footballer at a time like this, and saying they will respect the family's need for privacy. They're, of course, grieving in a way that goes way beyond anything to do with football. But I think that for the city, and I mentioned that Hillsborough Memorial, it's a city, of course, that knows about tragedy connected to this football club. It knows the pain that can come with that, and the need to mourn and reflect and respect. And I think for fans of Liverpool, that is one of these moments. It's a very sombre atmosphere. It's not many people at the moment. I'm sure during the day there will be more, but a very sombre mood around this stadium, famous old stadium, in a season where they've been celebrating, and where Diogo Jota, of course, was celebrating victory with the Portuguese team in the Nations League as well. Extraordinarily successful last few weeks for Diogo Jota and his teammates, and now instead we're talking about this instead.
And just seeing in the last minute or so on the other side of the Mersey, Everton posting on X, everyone at Everton is deeply saddened by the tragic passing of Diogo Jota and his brother. Our thoughts are with their family and friends at this sad time. Everton also posting a black and white image of Diogo just looking off to the side of the camera. And it's moments like this, isn't it, Greg, where club rivalries are put to one side, Chelsea FC as well paying tribute, and the world of football coming together.
Yeah, and particularly in this city where, of course, families are divided between red and blue. It's a pretty good-natured rivalry that existed for decades. Of course, Everton used to play just across the park here, Stanley Park. They've moved to that new stadium, or will move to that new stadium in the new season. But it shows the connection that there is between these two clubs, going back decades and going back through some of those very difficult moments for this club and its fans over the years. I think that is the feeling. Of course, we're in the off-season. Clubs are not playing Premier League games at the moment. This place, of course, normally around the season would be thronging with fans. It's a very different atmosphere in the summer. There's work going on. There's barriers going up and going down for other events here. But this brings into sharp focus what life is about for everyone, of course. And although it's someone who's extremely famous, extremely successful, and was really taken to their hearts here, I think that a lot of people focusing on the loss of a 28-year-old man and his brother, we should remember as well, and the loss to their family that they are dealing with, even as people reflect and look back on a very successful footballing career, just one part of Diogo Jota's life.
Just a reminder, if you scan that QR code that appears from time to time on the screen, it will take you to the live page, bringing together reaction and also reflection. If you scan that QR code on the death, that appears the tragic news of the screen, it will take you to the live. His younger brother, also a professional footballer, playing in the Portuguese second tier. The two of them confirmed to have died following a road traffic accident in Spain, close to the border between Spain and Portugal in the province of Zamora. Police say that the incident occurred around 12:30 a.m. It's believed that the Lamborghini that they were travelling in was attempting to overtake another vehicle when its tyre appears to have blown, sending the car off the road and ultimately catching fire as a result of that incident. The two of them have been confirmed, Diogo Jota and Andre Silva, as having died in that incident. Diogo had only just got married to his long-term partner last month, a father of 3. The pictures from their wedding on the 22nd of June showing him with his 3 young children alongside his now wife, but long-time partner as well. And we've had reaction from Liverpool Football Club. They have posted on their website. Let me just bring you that statement again from Liverpool Football Club. It says, "We're devastated by the tragic passing of Diogo Jota. The club have been informed the 28-year-old has passed away following a road traffic accident in Spain, along with his brother Andre. Liverpool FC will be making no further comment at this time and request the privacy of Diogo and Andre's family, friends, teammates and club staff is respected as they try to come to terms with an unimaginable loss. We will continue to provide them with our full support. That their reaction further comment at this. Liverpool Football Club, we also had reaction in the Commons from Lisa Nandy, the Culture Secretary, paying tribute there, saying that it was heartbreaking news to come to the chamber to discover that Diogo Jota had tragically lost his life at 28 years of age. Lisa Nandy going on to say, I think the whole house is heartbroken by this news, and I want to extend our sympathies to his friends and family on behalf of the whole house, referring there, of course, to the Commons. Talking of the Commons, I do just want to put on your radar that we will be hearing from the Prime Minister on matters regarding the NHS. We'll bring that to you when it happens. But in the meantime, I want to continue our focus on this tragic news of the death of the Liverpool footballer and forward Diogo Jota. Of course, joining the side in 2020, he's played for them for 5 years, joined from Wolverhampton. Transfer was just over £40 million, a figure that these days would appear small, but one that brought him to the side, and he's got many fans, of course, across Anfield. Greg Milam is there with one of them. Greg.
Yeah, I've got a couple of fans actually who came here to lay flowers at the what is now a growing memorial to Diogo Jota. Gary and Ronnie, thanks for talking to us. A difficult morning. What did you think, Ronnie, when you heard the news this morning?
Absolutely gutted. There's not a word that I can think that's making me sad at the moment. It's just devastating, absolute devastation. For the player he was and is, it's just unbelievable news. I just can't think of anything else.
Gary, what did he mean as a player to Liverpool fans?
He was, I mean, the way he played football with a smile on his face all the time, he was the epitome of enjoying what you do. Every time he went out on the pitch, he gave us all for us. And you don't know these people personally, but when you do lose somebody in this fashion, it's devastating. It's going to affect everybody. It's like losing somebody that's really, really close to you. And football pales into insignificance in times like this. He leaves 3 children, a wife, his brothers passed away with him, his poor mother and father, what they must be going through. I mean, it's just absolutely devastating. It's unbelievable.
It is, and we're talking a few weeks after the greatest moment in recent years for this club, yeah. winning the Nations League with Portugal. I mean, it's hard to put that into words.
It is. They always dream of winning what they want to win. They want to win everything, and he was one of the players that wanted to win everything. Yeah, it's just unbearable.
How do you think the club remembers, reflects on as a player like this?
After a time of sadness and reflection, you have to fight in his memory, and you have to go and try and get back to what he'd want us to be and go and win as many things as we can in his memory.
Gary, Ronnie, thanks very much
for
talking to us this morning. I think reflecting the views of many fans using that word devastated, the club's words unimaginable loss, talking about the death of Diogo Jota alongside his brother, of course, in that car in Spain, and more fans coming down here to Anfield to lay their tributes today.
Greg, outside Anfield, and we could just see those fans paying those tributes, laying those flowers behind you. We've had reaction from across the world of sport, naturally, from Liverpool legends such as Stan Collymore through to club sides themselves. We've had reaction from his club, from Everton, from Chelsea as well, posting on social media. It is wall-to-wall sadness and shock, I think it's fair to say. Manchester City, everyone at Manchester City is shocked and saddened to learn about the devastating news regarding the passing of Diogo Jota. We send our heartfelt condolences to his family and friends and everyone at Liverpool Football Club at this difficult time. Rest in peace, Diogo. And there is a picture of Diogo arm in arm with Bernardo, two of them embracing there. Jamie Carragher, devastating news about Diogo Jota and his brother Andre this morning. Thoughts with everyone of their family and friends, especially his wife and 3 lovely kids. Reaction as well from so many fans, and the post from Diogo Jota on Instagram of his wedding acknowledges the fact that he had just got married and has those 3 young children. More on that story as it develops, but I do just want to take you now to the Health Secretary, Wes Streeting, who is making an address regarding the future of the NHS, the government making its 10-year plan for the health service. Wes Streeting speaking in East London. Let's take a listen.
On fairness, that everyone in our country deserves to receive the care you need, not just the care you can afford. It enshrined in law and in the service itself our collective conviction that healthcare is not a privilege to be bought and sold, but a right to be cherished and protected. And now it falls to our generation to make the same choice, to rebuild our national health service, to protect in this century what Attlee's government built for the last. High-quality healthcare, not according to wealth, but according to need. That is the driving mission of our 10-year plan. Now, we know there are those on the right who are willing us to fail. There have always been those who whispered that the NHS is a burden, too expensive, inferior to the market. And today, those voices grow louder, exploiting the crisis in our NHS in order to dismantle it. They say that universal healthcare could be afforded in the 20th century, but not in the 21st. This Labour government rejects their pessimism. So does the public. But that is the choice. It really is change or bust, and we choose change. Over the past 8 months, we've led the biggest conversation about the future of our health service in history. We engaged more than 1 million people, with 250,000 sharing their experiences and their ideas. We consulted NHS and care staff, royal colleges, think tanks, trade unions, and so importantly, patients themselves. No one defends the status quo. Now, I'm sometimes told that NHS staff are resistant to change. On the contrary, they are crying out for it. They're the ones who have to suffer the moral injury of seeing their patients treated in unfit conditions. And they're also the ones that are driving the innovation on the front line. And so their fingerprints are all over this plan. The public are desperate for change too. Each of us has our own story about the NHS and the difference it's made to our own lives. And we also know the consequences of failure. That's why we can't afford to fail. To succeed, we need to defeat the cynicism that says that nothing ever changes, they're all the same, and the NHS can't be reformed. We know that the change in our plan is possible because we see it already happening. We toured the length and breadth of the country and scouted the world for the best examples of reform. If Australia can effectively serve communities living in the remote outback, we can meet the needs of people living in rural England. If community health teams can go door to door to prevent ill health in Brazil, we can do the same in Bradford. We know we can build the neighbourhood health service because teams in Cornwall, Camden, Northumbria, and right here in Stratford are already showing us how to do it. So we'll take the best of the NHS to the rest of the NHS, and we'll apply the best examples of innovation from around the world to benefit millions of people here at home. The science is on our side. The revolution in genomics, artificial intelligence, machine learning and big data offers a golden opportunity to deliver better care for all patients and better value for taxpayers. And we are grabbing that opportunity with both hands. And above all else, we will give power to the patient. It will fulfil Nye Bevan's commitment in 1948 to put a megaphone at the mouth of every patient. We know the British people are counting on us. It falls to us to make sure that the NHS not only survives, but thrives. And we will not let our country down. Because if we succeed, together with the 1.5 million people working in the NHS, we will be able to say with pride that we were the generation that built an NHS fit for the future and a fairer Britain where everyone lives well for longer. And that's the plan we're launching today. Thank you for being here. Now, I'm afraid I have to hot-foot it back to Parliament to make a statement to MPs and take their questions. But before I do, it gives me great pleasure to introduce the woman who is backing our plan for reform with an extra £29 billion worth of investment. It is thanks to her leadership that we've seen interest rates in our country fall 4 times. It's thanks to her leadership that we see wages finally rising faster than the cost of living. And it is thanks to her leadership we have the fastest growing economy in the G7. Please give a warm hand to the Chancellor of the Exchequer, Rachel Reeves.
Good luck in Parliament. 77th birthday of our National Health Service. A service, as Wes said, that was created by a Labour government. It was protected by a Labour government in 1997, and we will now be the government that saved our National Health Service. Our 10-year plan will get our NHS back on its feet and make it fit for the future, led by our fantastic NHS staff, and a huge thank you to every single one of you. And funded by the £29 billion that I announced in the spending review last month. I want to be clear, we are spending money on taxpayers' priorities. But that wouldn't have been possible without the measures that we took in the budget last year. We fixed the foundations and we've put our economy back on a strong footing. Our commitment to the fiscal rules has meant that we can boost investment in our public services. The work that we've already done means that we have recruited 1,700 new GPs. We've cut waiting lists and we've delivered 4 million extra appointments in under a year. That's twice as many as we promised, and that wouldn't have been possible without all of you. Making this country fairer for those who have paid in all their lives by guaranteeing that the NHS will be there when they need it. That's vital for the millions of people who rely on our NHS. But it's also vital for our nation's finances. Because if people have timely treatment, they'll be able to return to work. If NHS staff don't have to spend all their time on endless admin and bureaucracy, then they're free to focus on the care that they are so good at delivering. And if we can prevent illness taking root in the first place, we can save on costly treatment, as well as the huge pain and heartbreak later down the line. So this is the right way forward. Good for the health of our nation and good for the health of our nation's finances. This government will always deliver on the priorities of ordinary working people. And I am proud that with this plan, the NHS will always be there for those who need it, for the next 77 years and many more beyond that too. Thank you very much. Thank you. And it's now my pleasure to welcome the person who's made this possible by winning that Labour victory last year. And without that, we wouldn't be able to fix the foundations of our economy. We wouldn't be able to deliver the free school meals in our primary schools. We wouldn't be able to build the 1.5 million homes. We wouldn't be able to do anything that me and all of our colleagues came in to do. So, Prime Minister, over to you.
Thanks, mate. Great stuff. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Wes. And thank you, Denise. Where's Denise gone? Denise, come and sit down with us. Because Denise's story is fantastic. As she said, she works here, she lives in this borough, and she uses the services here. And what a great testament that is. And Denise, thank you for your introduction. Thank you for your words. And it is a real privilege
to be here with you in Stratford. And I've seen the work you're doing this morning. I'm sorry to be interrupting your work. I do understand how hard it is. My mum worked in the NHS. She was a nurse and a very proud nurse with it. My sister worked in the NHS, and my wife still works in the NHS in one of the big London hospitals. So I do understand what you do, how you do it, and what you put in, and why you do it as well. And so let me start by saying a big thank you to all of you for what you do. And if I may, through you, to say thank you to all the NHS staff right across the country who do what they do as public servants because they care about treating and caring for other people. Thank you also for welcoming us here to your neighbourhood health centre, because it's buildings like this here that represent the future of the NHS. And I've just had the chance to go round and see some of the work that's going on here, the 24 teams that you've got working on dentistry. Really pleased to see that you don't necessarily need an appointment. You can walk in. We've got children and families up there on the next floor having their teeth done. Hugely important. And that's what a neighbourhood health service can do, working in partnership with the people that it serves. And Denise, you're the embodiment of that. Power and control in their hands, care closer to their community, services organised around their lives. But look, I'll say a bit more about the future in a minute. But it is important that we go back a year to the NHS as it was left by the last government, with record waiting lists, the lowest ever satisfaction, and I know the toll that that takes on staff who work so hard. 100,000 children waiting more than 6 hours in A&E. Now, I'm not going to stand here and say everything is perfect now. We have a lot more work to do, and we will do it. But let's be under no illusions. Because of the fair choices that we made, the tough Labour decisions we made, the future already looks better for our NHS. And that is the story of this government in a nutshell. It's breakfast clubs, hugely important for children coming in to school so they're ready to learn. Potholes across the country filled. Fuel duty frozen. 4 interest rate cuts, hugely important for mortgage holders. Setting up Great British Energy. Levelling up workers' rights. Record investment in affordable housing. Infrastructure the length and breadth of our country. It's all down to the foundation we laid this year. All down to the path of renewal that we chose, the decisions made by the Chancellor, by Rachel Reeves, which mean we can invest record amounts in the NHS. Already over 6,000 mental health workers recruited, 1,700 new GPs, 170 community diagnostic centres, really important, already open, new surgical hubs, new mental health units, new ambulance sites, record investment right across the system. And because of all that, the results are crystal clear. At the last election a year ago, we promised 2 million extra appointments in the NHS in the first year of a Labour government. We've now delivered 4 million extra appointments, and that's thanks to all your hard work and that of your colleagues. 4 million. That's a record amount for any single year ever. And I want to thank you all for the part that you have played in that. That is what change looks like. A promise made and a promise delivered. And turning those statistics into the human is really important. So let me tell you about Jane, who I've spoken to. At Christmas, she was taken to hospital with back pain, and the diagnosis was not good. She needed her gallbladder removed. And Jane asked, as you can imagine, how long will I have to wait? And they said to her back then, I'm sorry, but at the moment, it could take up to 10 months. But because we've speeded up electives, because we've speeded up appointments, by May, she was offered a private appointment, paid for by the NHS, as part of our plan. And now Jane is pain-free, 5 months, not 10 months. And she's got 5 months back, free from pain, free from anxiety, and in a sense, her life is no longer on hold. That is what change looks like in human terms. That's the difference a Labour government can make. But we have to keep going. We are fixing the foundations. We made choices that no other government would make, and we're starting to repair the damage that's done to the NHS and public health through COVID on austerity. But reform, what we're talking about today, isn't just about fixing problems. It's also about seizing opportunities. And the way I see it, there's an opportunity here, because the NHS is at a turning point in its history. We're an older society now. Disease has changed. Conditions are chronic, they're long-term. They need to be managed. And that means we need to reform the NHS, to make it fit for the future. And with the technology that is available to us now, we have an unprecedented chance to do that, to make care better, to transform the relationship between people and the state, to give patients more power and control. And this is about fairness. Millions of people across Britain no longer feel that they get a fair deal. And it's starting to affect the pride, the hope, the optimism that they have in this great country. And our job is to change that. And the NHS is a huge part of it. I mean, for 77 years this weekend, the NHS has been the embodiment, if you like, of British pride, of hope, that basic sense of fairness and decency. 77 years of everyone paying in, working hard, doing the right thing, secure in the knowledge that if they or their family needs it, the NHS will be there for them. In 10 years' time, when this plan has run its course, I want people to say that this was the moment, this was the government that secured those values for the future. And look, when people are uncertain about the deal they're getting from this country, what fairer way is there to respond than that? By giving them more control, by partnering with them to build an NHS that is fit to face the future. And that is what this plan that we are launching today will do. It will do so in 3 ways, 3 shifts, if you like, that will transform healthcare in this country. First, we will shift the NHS away from being only a sickness service to a health service that is genuinely preventative, prevents diseases in the first place. That means a stronger focus on vaccination, on screening, early diagnosis, things like innovative weight loss services, which can be available in pharmacies, working with major food businesses to make their products healthier, better mental health support, particularly for our young people. And starting with children aged 16 this year, we will raise the first entirely smoke-free generation. Second, we will shift the NHS away from being a hospital-dominated service to being a community neighbourhood health service. You can see why we chose to come here. Places like this are the future of our NHS. As I say, you don't have to book an appointment. You can walk in. There are families here. People live in this area. It is local to them. Now, of course, we will always need hospitals. They will always be important for acute services in particular. But, as I say, disease has changed, and we must change with it. And not only can we do that, we can do it in a way that improves care and convenience for millions of people. So just imagine it, nurses, doctors, pharmacists, dentists, carers, health visitors, all under one roof, but also alongside them, services like debt advice, employment support, smoking cessation, preventative services, which we know are so crucial for a healthy life. Now, that is an exciting prospect. You know, the idea that the future of healthcare is no longer defined by top-down citadels of the central state, but is instead in your home, in your community, in your hands. That is an inspiring vision of change. It will bring the state and the people it serves into a partnership on something that we all care deeply about. But more importantly, it means a future where we have better GP access, no more 8 a.m. scrambles, more dental care for your children, better care on your doorstep, and a neighbourhood health centre like this